Welcome back to In Conversation. I'm Joyce Simon, I'm your host, and I have Marianne Marriott. Marianne, you're with Haley and Associates, a company that deals with mostly debt.
Yes.
Correct?
That's correct.
We talked about informal and consumer proposals. I have no idea what that is, so maybe you can tell me.
Sure. Once a person has exhausted all the traditional avenues of dealing with their debt, which means refinancing, borrowing, the things that they can do with financial institutions, if those are not options, then they're going to come down to the next level, which is some kind of a compromise of your debt or a settlement of debt. So an informal proposal would be where you would actually maybe go to your creditors and say, I can't pay you back everything I owe, but I could pay something. Or you could use a service, there's many different types of credit counseling services that are out there where they basically pay back 100% of your debt without interest. So the compromise is, we'll pay you back what we owe you, but we're not going to pay any interest. A formal proposal is something done through an actual insolvency professional, which would be ourselves.
Okay.
And it's where a settlement is offered to your creditors based on any percentage. So the idea is that we're going to offer an arrangement to your creditors based on what you can afford to pay.
Okay.
So if you can, if your debt payments right now are $800 per month, but you can really only afford to pay $400 per month, then we'll make a settlement offer based on you paying $400 per month. And one of the nice things about a formal proposal, which can work against you, but mostly to your advantage, is that your creditors vote on it. And if the majority vote yes, the rest have to agree.
Okay.
So there's some extra, bells and whistles around that option that sometimes make it the most viable one.
Now, what about bankruptcy?
Yeah, and there's probably could do an entire segment on this one, but bankruptcy it's obviously quite involved. I mean, bankruptcy is without a doubt the last option, and the difference between bankruptcy and everything else is that you're actually released from the obligation to pay back your debt. Now, there's a lot more involved with the bankruptcy process. I mean, there are some fees involved. There's so many myths. I mean, one is that people think if you go bankrupt, you lose everything. Well, that's not the case nowadays. In most cases, people can actually go through bankruptcy but still maintain and keep their home or still keep their vehicle. So bankruptcy is an option that allows you to take an impossible situation and put it behind you, or put it mostly behind you, so that you can basically get on with your life and start to rebuild. So,
but you recommend that as a very last resort?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to look at everything, as I said, from refinancing to offering some kind of settlement to creditors before we actually would look at a bankruptcy scenario.
And how long does a bankruptcy stay on the record till it's cleared, so to speak?
Bankruptcy stays on your record for 6 years from the date that you're finished the bankruptcy process. And in fact, if anyone knows anything about credit bureaus, everything stays on your credit record for approximately 6 years from the date it's completed. And completed means you've either paid the debt off, or it's been written off, or it's been released under some type of proposal or bankruptcy. That doesn't mean you can't reestablish credit for 6 years. It just means that you do have that mark on your credit bureau. And again, in the credit world the way it is today, unfortunately, it's very easy to reestablish credit with poor credit rating. And that's because of the availability of high interest credit.
I'm going to touch on you have a website, and on the website, people can go and click on links to various things. I see that you have a forms section there. Can you briefly, because we're soon out of time, talk about what the forms are?
Yeah, we have different forms to help people put together a spending plan, to look at their income and expenses, and just help them get some of the basic information that they need to help them make some financial decisions.
Marianne, how long has Haley and Associates been around?
Well, Haley and Associates has been in Bridgewater for just over 3 years. We just had our 3rd anniversary in the fall. However, Mr. Haley, who is the trustee and president of the company, has been in the industry for 30 years, and I've had the pleasure of not only being here to help start this company, but working with him for 10 years at a Halifax-based company as well.
I'm just going to ask you, how long have you been with Haley and Associates?
Yeah, so with this particular company, 3 years, but it's been about 13 or 14 years in the industry.
And how many people are on the staff?
There's currently 5. I have to hesitate because we've been growing quite a bit. I might have that wrong, someone will correct me. We've just opened an office in Halifax, so we now have a gentleman in our Halifax office. And Yeah, and there's 4 or 5 of us in the Bridgewater. I've lost track.
That's fine. The forms that we talked about, they can be printed off and people can fill them out?
They can, and we do have an assessment form that they can print off, complete it, and they can fax or email it to us, and we can actually do an assessment for them prior to meeting with them or over the phone if they would like us to.
So quickly to recap at the tail end of our show today, the offices are along the South Shore in what communities?
There we have offices right from Yarmouth, Barrington, Shelburne, Liverpool, Bridgewater. We can meet in basically Hubbardston, Talon. We have an office located in Halifax.
And we're going to put up on the screen your email address is
info@haleytrustee.ca,
and the website
is www.haleytrustee.ca.
And your toll-free number?
866-531-3636.
Marianne, it's been great. We're out of time, and I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope the audience out there that's listening learned a lot today. I know I did. You've been watching In Conversation here on Eastlink Television only. My name's Joyce Simone. Catch us another time. Thank you so much for being our guest.